a plot of state land of an extent of about 93 perches, over which stands a ground plus one concrete building. The then Ministry of Education, Tertiary Education, Science and Technology informed the then Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning on the 1st of December 2021 that the former Immaculate Conception School is no longer being used for educational purposes since 2017. If I may add, in fact, when I perused the letter that was sent to the senior executive, chief executive of my ministry on the 1st of December 2021, in one of the paragraphs of that letter, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I can read and I quote, "In light of the above, and given that the site is no longer being used by the ministry since 2017, it would be appreciated if your ministry can take back control of the land and ensure necessary and appropriate measures be taken accordingly." Nothing was done ever since 2021. To make it worse, nothing was done ever since 2017. So for all those years, this school was left in totally abandoned state. The classrooms clearly are being used by people dealing in things which are totally unlawful. There's rubbish, overgrown grass. It's totally insalubre. And this is in the middle of the capital city of Port-Louis. So I wonder, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, why is it that the then Honourable Minister of Housing and Land, when he, if I'm not mistaken, very close to where they had shown some interest to obtain some land. So how is it that he seems to be unaware, at least in those days, of anything going on with any state land in that particular region? So he said, but I don't believe. So nothing was done. The building once housed the former Immaculate Conception School, as I said, haven for illegal activities. Now, there are two options available. One, to inform the Ministry of Local Government through the City Council of Port-Louis to initiate cleaning of the site, and then under Section 128 and 129 of the Local Government Act to make provision for shoring up and securing the building. But there is another option, and the other option is to retrieve the land altogether. This was what was requested for ever since 2021. And so many years later on, whilst the others were asleep at the helm, now we are not asleep at the helm, and we will do what needs to be done. 93 perches in the middle of the capital, and when we were looking for land, the elected members of that constituency, all of them have been looking for land in order to put up projects. There we go. Land is available and was sleeping there, and the former government did not bother. So I thank the Honourable Member for that question. I've given instructions already to the Senior Chief Executive of my ministry to retrieve, to take it back, and then I shall consult with our Honourable Members from constituency number 2 in order to find out, together with themselves and other future soon-to-be elected members of the Alliance of the Municipal Council, to decide on the proper way forward to make use of that prime property. I'd like to thank the Honourable Member once again for having put that question, because that question brought me to a document that shows back in 1962. And if I'm not mistaken, it could be that it was Mohammed, the first Minister of Housing and Land in our family, who was the one who gave the lease for that school. So it's quite an interesting matter with history that I'm dealing with it today in order to give it back its letter of de gloire. Thank you very much.
One supplement.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. This property, this premises, is in its extreme derelict state, lying in the city of Port-Louis. May I ask the Honourable Minister, as a matter of urgency and a short-term measure, whether he could liaise with the Commissioner of Police to ensure that this premises is not being used as a drug den daily, and also harboring petty criminals on a 24/7 basis at the moment. Just immediate measures for security of the inhabitants living in the surroundings. Thank you.
I thank the Honourable Member for his concern, and I think that his concerns are totally called for and very legitimate. I must therefore beg leave to table 4 photographs of the site in question that will show exactly the very, very bad state this premises is in. We have already contacted the Commissioner of Police and the officers in order to do the needful. I have been speaking about this problem with my honorable colleague, the Minister of Environment, who has graciously offered his services and his help in order to clean up the site. And I thank him for that. However, I am of the view, and I say it again, that those premises could be used for other projects that in this Constitution number 2 has been calling for, but it seems that for the past 10 years, no one was listening. Thank you very much.
Yes, next question, the Honourable Third Member for Mayberg and Palmyra.
B306, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the sheltered farming project at Plaine Magnan is a resounding failure of the previous government. Phase 1 of the project was meant for young, unemployed graduates to gain skills and experience in entrepreneurship in the agricultural sector. The project was launched in April 2018 with the setting up of 10 net houses of 2,000 square meters each and equipped with electrically powered irrigation system costing a sum of around 15 million rupees. These net houses were allocated to trainees who had followed training in basic sheltered farming system. However, one of them withdrew from the program and the net house was reallocated to Food and Agricultural and Research Extension Institute, which is running a demonstration center thereat. I'm informed that no lease agreement has been signed with the trainees in respect of the allocated net houses and that no rent has been paid. With your permission, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm tabling the list of beneficiaries under this project. I'm informed that at present, only 2 beneficiaries active on sites besides Food and Agricultural and Research Extension Institute. The remaining ones have abandoned the site due to inter alia problems associated with bedrocks on the plots that were located, damage to netting systems, occasioning entry of birds and pests, and inadequate monitoring and follow-up by FARI. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Phase 2 of the sheltered farming park at Plaine Magnan, comprising 20 net houses of approximately 2,000 square meters each, was completed in November 2020 for an amount of 36.8 million rupees. None of the units has been allocated since 2020 due to the non-availability of water and electricity, clearly demonstrating poor management and lack of overall coordination of the project, where more than 50 million rupees of taxpayers' money had already been invested. Over the years, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the unoccupied net houses under both phases have reached a deplorable state. While vegetation has grown within the net houses and the surrounding areas, the nets and drip lines have been damaged and accessories and fittings have been stolen from the pump houses. I'm advised that the cost of rehabilitation of one net house is estimated at around 600,000 rupees. This sum excludes the cost of supplying water from the borehole to the net house. An amount of 5 million has been made available in the budget for current financial year for the rehabilitation of net houses at Villebag and Plaine Magnan, but this amount obviously is insufficient to rehabilitate both phases of the project at Plaine Magnan. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is clear that this project has been plagued by serious shortcomings and serious negligence. Out of the 30 net houses, only 3 are being currently operated, and none of the 20 net houses of the second phase has ever been allocated to date. Considering that the shift from open field to sheltered farming is one of the means of improving production capacity in the face of adverse impact of climate change, the project needs to be revisited. I have given firm instruction to the Senior Chief Executive and Food and Agricultural Research Extension Institute to review the sheltered farming project.
Okay, next question. The honorable third member for Montagne Blanche and Gambia Southeast.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, B307.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Road Development Authority that along the road from Melrose to Deep River, classified road network, I'm informed, there are 44 covered bus stops and around 12 bus stops which are covered. With regard to the covered bus stops, 15 of these constitute of iron sheets, which require some uplifting. I am also informed that the RDA will accordingly proceed with painting and repair works thereat. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am also informed by the TRMSU that following a survey carried out, it has been observed that 6 bus stops from Sevastopol to Deep River have to be upgraded. Inasmuch as the Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit does not currently have a framework to allocate works to a designated contractor, like usually this is the case, because same have expired, a fresh tender exercise is being floated for the contractor to undertake such jobs. The RDA could consider upgrade these bus stops the more so. They are located on classified roads, and it is also if it is deemed to be in the interest of time. Else, once the contractor of the TRMSU has been selected, the TRMSU can undertake the works.
The next question, the honorable second member for Granby and Putudo.
Deputy Speaker, B308.
Monsieur le Vice-président, la CWA m'informe qu'un total de 3,4 km de tuyaux ont été remplacés dans la région de Goodlands dans le cadre de 2 contrats PME. En ce qui concerne la remise en état des routes, je suis également informé que les travaux le long de Telego Temple Road, Piver Avenue et une partie de Triangle Road ont déjà été achevés. Pour le chemin Triangle Road jusqu'à la boutique Perron et Mademoiselle Jeanne, la CWA avait lancé un contrat distinct pour la remise en état de la route. Cependant, comme je l'ai expliqué dans ma réponse à la question 219 lors de notre séance du 25 mars 2025, Monsieur le Vice-président, le coût du projet ayant été dépassé, la CWA ne peut actuellement pas procéder à l'attribution des contrats pour la réfection des routes. Une demande de financement supplémentaire a été déposée au ministère des Finances et cela est en cours d'examen. La CWA a lancé un appel d'offres pour l'exercice 25-26 afin de financer un nouvel appel d'offres pour la remise en état des routes. L'attribution du contrat est prévue pour septembre 2025 et l'achèvement des travaux, on l'espère, est prévu pour octobre 2025.
Deputy Speaker, sir, will the Honourable Minister implement strict mechanism to prevent similar delays in future projects, particularly in densely populated areas?
We will.
The next question, honorable second member for Gambé Putudo. B309.
B309.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, lodging accommodation for foreign migrant workers is governed by the Occupational Safety and Health Act 2005 and the Occupational Safety and Health Employees Lodging Accommodation Regulation 2011. With regard to Part A of the question, I'm informed that the expected time frame for an inspection to be carried out by officers of my ministry upon receipt of an application for lodging accommodation permit is normally 5 working days. However, I am informed that the lodging accommodating permit is usually issued within a month after receipt of the application at the National Occupational Safety and Health Department of my ministry. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, it should however be noted that when submitting an application for lodging accommodation permit to my ministry, health and fire clearance should accompany the application. And the obtention of those clearances from the Ministry of Health and Wellness and from the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Services may take quite some time, even several months. And the reason for that is very often the accommodation has to be modified physically to meet the requirement of the Ministry of Health and Fire clearances. Now, the Interministerial Committee set up to look into the whole issue of migrant workers is considering how to streamline the process to reduce the time it takes to get the lodging accommodation permit. For the time being, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, an applicant wishing to recruit a foreign worker needs to get the lodging accommodation permit first and then apply for the work permit. And while he is applying for the work permit, he has to pay the rent sometime for several months. So what is being proposed by the committee now is to have a system of parallel application. So at the same time that an employer will apply for a work permit, at the same time he will apply for a lodging accommodation permit, and then once he receives it, he will be able to do it. Consideration is also being given to the possibility of issuing lodging accommodation permit to the owner of a building who will then be able to lease the whole or part of the building to different employers. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, concerning Part B of the question, the number of permits which have been granted in constituency number 6, Grand B and Poutredor, for the period from 2019 to 2024, including both new and renewed permits, is 229. I am tabling the breakdown of the number of permits issued in constituency number 6 from year 2019 to 2024.
Yes, Honorable Daddy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deputy Speaker, sir, can the Honorable Minister inform the House, once such a permit has been provided, how frequent inspections are made, and what are the measures taken for non-compliance? Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, inspections are regularly carried out after a LAP has been issued, either on an ad hoc basis or following a complaint received from either the migrant worker or most often the trade unionists. For example, for the period 2024 to February 2025, 91 follow-up visits were carried out at the employees' lodging accommodation, including joint visits with the Ministry of Health and the Mauritius Fire Services.
Next question.
And what actions are taken for non-compliance?
Well, for the time being, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the Occupational Safety and Health Employees Lodging Accommodation Regulation 2011 makes provision under Regulation 23 for the Enforcement Authority, usually it will be my ministry, to serve an enforcement notice on the employer so that they have a delay to comply with that enforcement notice. If not, then the lodging accommodation permit is revoked and the employer will then have to make alternative provision to accommodate the employers.
Yes, the Honorable Fourth Member for Warwick.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, B310.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the population will recall that despite the difficult economic situation that we inherited, government introduced in December last year the special allowance 14th month bonus for some 420,200 employees from both the private and public sectors, as well as a 1 month allowance to every pensioner, widow, orphan, and disabled person in Mauritius. The Special Allowance Act 2024 provides for a one-off payment of a special allowance to employees drawing monthly basic salary not exceeding 50,000 rupees or equivalent to 1 month's basic salary. As far as employees who has been in continuous employment for only part of the year, the employee or his legal representative is entitled to special allowance on a pro rata basis in line with Section 3.3 of the Act. Special allowance, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, is payable as follows. In 2 equal installments, the first one payable not later than the last working day of December 2024, and the second installment on the last working day of January 2025. Or alternatively, in case there is an agreement between the employer and an employee, the payment can be done in 4 installments, not more than 4 installments. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, since the enactment of the Special Allowance Act in December last year, I am informed as at end of February 2025, 1,503 complaints in relation to non-compliance with the Special Allowance Act were received from employees against 321 employers comprising 291 companies and 30 individual employers. Regarding Part A of the question, the main reason put forward by employers for non-compliance is financial constraint faced by them. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the Act does provide that the Director General of the Mauritius Revenue Authorities can provide financial assistance in connection with the payment of special allowance to qualifying export enterprises, qualifying SMEs, and other employers falling within a category as may be prescribed. And there has been a regulation in February 2025, the Income Tax Financial Assistance for Payment of Special Allowance Regulations, where the category of eligible companies for refund has been set out, and they include charitable institutions, non-governmental organizations, registered religious bodies, trade unions, enterprises other than export enterprise or SMEs having a turnover not exceeding 750 million rupees and operating in the following sectors: business process outsourcing, security services, cleaning services, and construction. In addition, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, financial support has been extended to enterprises in the transportation sector facing financial difficulties to pay the special allowance. And I have been informed by the MRA that 10,570 eligible employers have employed for the financial assistance, out of which 8,677 employers have submitted a special allowance return 2024. Payments have already been effected to 8,041 compliant employers for a total amount of 1,052,051,539. However, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I have to stress that one of the problems which the eligible employers are facing when making a claim to the MRA is that under the provisions of the law, the employer is required to pay the special allowance and then claim a refund from the MRA. Now, there are a number of employers who are not paying the special allowance and making claims for refund by the MRA, and that is what is causing delay. So even though they may be eligible to get the refund, because they have not paid the special allowance, MRA is not giving them the money back. Now, as regard Part B of the question, on 15 January 2025, my ministry received complaints from 12 Indian workers to the effect that they had not been paid the special allowance 2024 by Brilliant Cleaning Services Limited. They had also not been remunerated for November and December and did not receive end-of-year bonus. After the intervention of officers of my ministry, their outstanding salaries have been settled. However, the company is yet to pay them their end-of-year bonus and their special allowance. On 28th of March 2025, the company agreed to pay the outstanding amount in 3 installments on 10th of April, 10th of May, and 10th of June 2025. On 10th March 2025, the Chemin-Grenier Labour Office received a complaint from 16 local employees of Migrant Cleaning Services Limited, the same company, for non-payments of special allowance. When contacted, the director informed my ministry that payment could not be effected due to acute financial constraint. I am informed by the MRA that although Bryant Cleaning Services is eligible to apply for the refund through MRA, they have not done so far. Concerning Part C of the question, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, investigation is ongoing by enforcement officers of my ministry with regards to those cases where special allowance have not been paid when due. As at February 2025, 1,500 out of 1,503 complaints received, only 7 cases were rejected, 41 cases withdrawn by employees, and 151 cases were settled. The settled amount represents a total amount of the settled cases represent a total amount of 2.6 million rupees recovered on behalf of workers after the intervention of officers of my ministry. The remaining cases are still under investigation by my ministry. I wish to highlight that any employer who fails to comply with the provision of the Special Allowance Act shall commit an offence and shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 5,000 rupees. 91 cases against 6 employers have already been referred to the prosecution unit of my ministry in order for criminal action to be taken against them. But before lodging the information at the industrial court, my ministry has liaised with the Mauritius Revenue Authority to confirm whether these employers are eligible for financial assistance and have received the financial assistance. A reply from the MOA is awaited. Allow me to assure the House and workers of this country that criminal action will be taken against all those employers who are not eligible to financial assistance and who are still not complying with the provisions of the Special Allowance Act. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member.
I thank the Honourable Minister for his answer. I would like to ask the Honourable Minister if the refund is related to CSG compliance.
I don't know the mechanism which the MOA is doing, whether he's using the funds of CSG to pay it or otherwise. I'm only informed that the MOA refund all the amount of money that is being paid by qualifying employer under the, as required under the Special Allowance Act and regulations.
Okay, next question, the Honourable Third Member for Port South.
B311, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the number of MRIs and CT scan apparatus available in our public hospitals of 4 and 7 respectively. 3 out of 4 MRIs and 6 out of 7 CT scan apparatus are functional and are being used. With regard to Part B of the question, consultants in charge and radiologists of the radiology department are reporting on MRIs and CT scans on a 24/7 basis for semi-urgent ward and emergency cases. As there are no MRI services at Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital for the time being, the Department of Radiology at the Dr. A.G. G2 Hospital is carrying out the MRI imaging services once per week for cases referred by the Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital. The same radiologists posted at the Dr. A.G. G2 Hospital also carry out MRIs for cases referred by Victoria Hospital after working hours for emergency cases. These arrangements have been put in place to ensure continuous access of MRI services. At the Sir Shivsagar Ramgulam National Hospital, The CT scans and MRIs are all functional and are all covered under the maintenance and repair. Invited from private clinics via expression of interest, and clinics proposing the lowest prices were selected for outsourcing of the MRI and CT scan reporting. I'm informed that since March 2024, 3 private clinics have been enlisted for referral of reporting in respect of routine, non-urgent cases of MRIs and CT scans done at the level of regional hospitals. I'm also informed that the enlisted clinics are remunerated as agreed.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. There has been a contractual agreement that has been happening between the Ministry of Health and private clinics for reporting of CT scan and MRIs. It is very unfortunate, and I have a document at hand, that the people who are reporting these MRI CT scans are not registered, some of them, to the Medical Council of this country, just posing a serious threat when it comes to medical legal issues. B, those who are reporting them are not even on site in Mauritius, thereby depriving the patient the clinical picture, and that is why there has been serious mistakes whereby a woman who has lost her uterus was told she still has one. So I will urge the Honourable Minister to see to it that primary reporting of MRIs and CT scans are done by our local radiologists and adhere to secondary reporting or second opinion with outside of radiologists from abroad. Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, we have a big problem as far as radiologists are concerned. We have got a lack of such radiologists in our country, a big lack in most of the hospitals. And secondly, I'm not aware whether the outsourcing was done from abroad. But I'll look into the issue, and I can promise if I can get the copy of that paper which you have in your with you.
Yes, you have a supplementary on that question?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. It is reported that the scan apparatus in Rodrigues is out of order. Will the Honourable Minister look into it, please?
The Honourable First Member for Montagne Blanche and
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. B312.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that Pepsi Lane at Equaya is an area prone to localized water accumulation during heavy rainfall. The capacity of the existing absorption drain are not enough to capture high volumes of water, thereby causing great inconvenience to pedestrians. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am further informed that the National Development Unit had awarded a contract for the construction of an absorption drain at Pepsi Road, Equaya, on 8 July 2024 to mitigate the flooding and water accumulation thereat for a contract value of 2.29 million rupees. However, during excavation works, basalt strata was encountered. In order not to put at risk the existing services and causing any infrastructural damages to residential buildings in the surrounding, upon instructions from the NDU, the contractor stopped the works immediately. He was thereafter requested to proceed with the proper backfilling and compaction of the excavated trench and provide for a temporary reinstatement and open the road to traffic. The contract for the absorption drain was eventually terminated. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, to tackle the problem of flooding in the region in a holistic manner, I have been advised that a consultant would have to be appointed to carry out a study for the drainage works and relocation of the major CWA services. Bid will accordingly be launched early May 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm also informed that the Central Water Authority had excavated 2 pits at Pepsi Road, which will be reinstated by the latter's contractor on 14 April 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to the region of Bramstan, I'm informed that pipe replacement works are actually being carried out along several roads by the Central Water Authority. 4.62 kilometers of permanent reinstatement works have been completed, and as at date, around 1.28 kilometers is outstanding at Dominic Road, Kalimai Road number 1, Shiwala Road, and Kalipa Road. It is expected that the remaining reinstatement works will be undertaken by the Central Water Authority's contractor as from next week and would be completed in 1 week's time.
Thank you. The Honourable Second Member for Savan-Rivière.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, please B313.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that in constituency number 14, Savan-Rivière, there is 1 area health center which is located at Chemin-Grien and 8 community health centers which are located in the following villages: Bambou-Virier, Casse-Moyal, Chamarel, Chamonix, Flic-en-Flac, La Goulette, Tamarin, and Béjicap. All the 9 health facilities are currently operational. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that Béjicap Community Health Center is housed in an old rented building which is facing accessibility and parking issues. Attempts have, however, been made by my ministry since 2017 to relocate the Béjicap Community Health Center to a more appropriate location. All the lands identified within the region for the construction of a new community health center were found to be unsuitable due to the risk of flooding and sloping topography of the grounds. Furthermore, several expressions of interest were launched by the ministry since April 2016 to rent another facility within Béjicap to house the community health center. However, there were no responsive bidders during all the exercises. I'm also informed a new commercial center is being constructed at Béjicap village, and discussions are ongoing between the private developer and my ministry to look into the possibility of renting a designated space within the building to relocate the community health center. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, at the same time, the possibility of requesting the Ministry of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries to release the existing fisheries post at Béjicap, which is apparently not being used for the past 8 years, is also being looked into.
Yes, Honourable Wadi.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Will the Minister consider to have a site visit at those community centres, and especially for Cas Royal Community Centre?
Okay, let us say within a week I'll do it.
Next question, the Honourable Third Member for Bobasan Pesitigia.
314.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that there is no specific budget allocated for methadone substitution therapy program as expenses are being incurred under different items under the budget of my ministry. However, the House may wish to note that the approximate amount spent for the purchase of methadone and other related costs and allowances for the methadone substitution therapy program from 2019 to 2024 as follows. For financial year 2018 and 2019, 40,585,832. For 2019 to 2020, 42,334,842. For 2020 to 2021, 57,593,713. For 2021 to 2022, 46,389,430. For 2022-23, 60,402,179, and for 2023-2024, 57,524,788. With regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that as at February 2025, there are a total number of 8,851 patients. 8,851 patients receiving the daily doses of methadone in 75 dispensing sites around the island. The number of patients attending the different dispensing points region-wise is being tabled. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to part C of the question, it's widely accepted that the assessment of recovery from drug addiction is inherently complex, owing to the multifaceted nature of the addiction itself. In essence, the complexity of assessing drug addiction recovery stems from the interplay of individual variability, multidimensional factors, measurement challenges, and the dynamic nature of the recovery process itself. Hence, exact number of patients who have successfully completed the program cannot be determined.
Yes,
Monsieur le Président, la méthadone, comme tout le monde le sait, est un produit de substitution et qui est devenu malheureusement un produit d'addiction pour de nombreux patients. Donc, l'honorable ministre peut-il dire à la Chambre s'il envisage d'autres types de programmes plus efficaces? Si oui, lesquels?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in the days to come, we are having a legislation on this particular issue. I will request you to be a bit. We are having the so you are, be a bit patient. You will get it.
Donc, probablement, l'honorable ministre est au courant que dans certains pays, il y a le Suboxone qui est privilégié à la méthadone. Donc, de par son potentiel d'abus plus faible et un niveau de dépendance physique aussi plus faible. Donc, s'il est au courant que ce produit existe, est-ce que ce traitement peut être considéré et peut-on savoir quand à peu près compte-t-il venir de l'avant avec ce programme alternatif?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, see, I'm not a medical practitioner. As I've just said, that we are having a new legislation, so please be patient. You will definitely, we will have certain changes.
The new law is coming for first reading today, and next time the honourable member can have an opportunity to address the House on the bill and make any suggestion he wants. So let's proceed with the next question, if you don't mind. Thank you. Honourable members, I've been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn: B317, B320, B327, B349, B329, B340, B350, and B328. Now we proceed with the next question. Honourable Second Member for Savane, Vivianois.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, please, B315.
Monsieur le Vice-président, la CWA m'a informé que le réservoir de service de la Martinière à Suriname a été mis au service en 2016. Suite à la construction d'un nouveau réservoir à Mont-Blanc, d'une capacité de stockage de 255 mètres cubes, le réservoir de service de la Martinière était insuffisant pour répondre à la demande croissante en eau dans la région. De plus, en raison de son usure et des fuites ont été constatées dans le réservoir. Un nouveau réservoir de service d'une capacité de stockage de 2000 mètres cubes a été construit à Mont-Blanc, situé en altitude. Il alimente donc directement en eau la Martinière, Suriname et une partie d'Oriambel.
The next question, the Honourable First Member for Montagne Blanche and Grand Vigourousness.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Speaker. So B316.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, the House may wish to note that an environmental impact assessment EI license was granted to Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited on 27 February 2006 for the setting up of a recycling facility for the refining of used lube oil at Montagne Blanche. The operation of the refinery plant started in the year 2012. I'm informed that no complaint has been registered at the level of my ministry with regard to hazardous and toxic air pollution emanating from that company. I'm further informed that the Environmental Health Engineering Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness has also not been made aware of any hazardous or toxic air pollution thereon. Mr. Deputy Speaker, however, I wish to inform the House that my ministry received one complaint on 21st January 2025 and two additional complaints on 7 March relating to other nuisance emanating from Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited. In view of the recurrent odor nuisance complaints received during the last 8 years, I'm informed that an additional condition relating to the submission of a detailed odor management and monitoring plan by the company to the Ministry of Health and Wellness was imposed in the EIA license by my ministry on 5th of October 2021. In fact, these complaints have been jointly addressed through several site inspections in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Pursuant to Section 21 and 5th Schedule of the Environment Act 2024, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is an enforcing agency for odor nuisance. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm further informed that in line with conditions contained in the EIA license, the Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited has implemented the following mitigating measures. The refinery plant is equipped with a wet scrubber. All equipment is enclosed in corrugated iron sheets, and ashoka trees have been planted around boundaries to Akali Green Belt. Mr. Speaker, an ambient air monitoring was also conducted on 3rd April by the National Environmental Laboratory of my ministry to assess the ambient air quality prevailing in the nearby residential areas located within Montagne Blanche, around 500 to 700 meters of Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited. Results revealed that toxic gases screened on all sites, namely ammonia, nitrogen dioxide, benzene, toluenes, hydrogen sulfide, and naphthalene, complied with the lowest observed adverse effect level limit, as specified by the United States Environment Protection Agency. Besides, the measured concentration level of the parameter, total organic volatile compounds, was compliant with the guidelines of the WHO. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I wish to inform the House that my ministry has promulgated the Environment Protection, Collection, Storage, Treatment, Use and Disposal of Waste Oil Regulation 2006 and is ensuring that the company abides to its provisions. My ministry will continue to monitor closely the situation and will take appropriate actions if required.
Okay, now the Honourable Third Member for Mayberg and Penmagnon.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, B318, please.
Honourable Mr. Houghton.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that there are 3 scenarios at Cité-Lachaud, Mayberg, found on page géométrique Rivière-Lachaud. First, there are 2 ex-CHA housing estates, namely Résidence Lachaud A and Résidence Lachaud B, comprising some 304 families who are owners of the ex-CHA housing units and are holders of state land leases or bonnets du forme over the plot of land on which stand their houses. Applications for renewal or transfer of leases and subdivision of the plot of land are processed by my ministry as and when received. Second, I'm informed by my ministry that 51 families who were squatting on state land adjoining Résidence Lachaud B housing estate and 3 families who were squatting on surplus of land within ex-CHA housing estates have been regularized and granted building site leases over the plots of land in 2005 and 2016, respectively. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm also informed that there are squatters on some plots of land, state land at Cité-Lachaud, and officers of my ministry are carrying out a survey to assess the real situation on site and take any action as may be appropriate. Allow me at this juncture to point out that even though this is not within the scope of this question, officers of my ministry are indeed carrying out a survey to find out about the squatting situation, squatters in Mauritius, all over Mauritius, and in order to apprise oneself of the real situation nationally. As regards whether consideration will be given to amending the law to make the lessees owners of their plots of land, I wish to refer the Honourable Member to replies I made to the House, to PQB 38 and PQB 118 on the 4th of February 2025 and the 4th of March 2025 respectively, to the effect that pas géométriques are inalienable and imprescriptible. Consequently, the individual plots of state land at Cité-Lachaud cannot be sold to occupiers as per Section 5 of the State Lands Act. Thank you.
Honourable members have been advised that B321, B354, B334, B339 has been withdrawn. So the next question is B323. Third member for Coachability and Local. 319. Okay, we'll come to 319. Sorry, we will do 319 first. If time allowed, then you will answer the next question. B319. B319, Honourable Third Member for Grand Bay, Poudredo. Oh, 319? Has not been withdrawn. It has to be replied by the Minister of Public Service and yes, 319. Please. 319, yeah.
Mr. Speaker, sir, may I please, first of all, thank the third member of Granby and Poudredo. Deputy Speaker, sir, with your permission, I will reply this question on behalf of my colleague and friend, Mr. Sports, Youth and Sports. I'm informed that on the 17th of December 2020, an MOU was signed between the then Minister of Youth Empowerment, Sports and Recreation and Ivaco Limited for the construction of a football ground, a pétanque court, an outdoor gym, a kids' corner, and related amenities and infrastructure on a plot of land of some 13,000 square meters, which is vested in the state ministry at Chemin 20 Pieds, Cap Malheureux. I'm further informed by Ivaco Limited that the football playground and fencing around the playground has been completed. The public is authorized to use the football playground. Temporary solar floodlights has also been installed for use of the playground in the evening. Deputy Speaker, sir, as per the provisions of the MOU, some infrastructural works, such as the construction of the changing rooms, administrative block and stands, though completed at 60%, are still pending. Provision is being made for the final phase of the project, which is currently at procurement stage, comprising of the following: provision of external lighting for a football pitch, jogging track, kids playground, outdoor gym, boulodrome, external services network, footpath, roadworks and parking, and landscaping. The expected completion date of the project, Deputy Speaker, sir, is October 2025.
We have 2 minutes left. We'll go to the next question. Honourable Third Member for Coachability.
2-3. B2-3.
free
Yes.
to free.
I thank the honourable member for putting the question. Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, as regards Part A of the question, I've been informed by the Mauritius Cane Industry Authority that presently there are 35 operational agricultural machines and equipment available at the Agricultural Mechanization Unit, where 25 tractors are used for land preparation, 5 bell loaders are used for cane loading, and 1 roller is used for compaction. 1 hydraulic excavator is used for excavation and splitting of rocks and boulders, and 1 hydraulic excavator coupled with a cane cutter is used for cane harvesting. There are 27 machines that are not operational and have largely exceeded their lifetime. They cannot be repaired due to the high maintenance costs. They also represent safety hazard to users. These have been earmarked to be sold as scrap or used as spare parts for existing machines. With regard to Part A1 of the question, the number of machines currently being used for ploughing of land of small planters is 27, out of which 22 are crawler tractors and 5 pneumatic tractors. Regarding Part 2B of the question, the waiting time depends on the request of the planters, together with payment and signing of the contracts, and also depends on the month of the year when the planter undertakes the harvest. Land preparation is performed after the planter has harvested his field. The allocation of bulldozers is made according to a well-defined plan, normally according to regional grouping, while maintaining a first-come, first-served basis, notwithstanding the capacity of work that the unit can take. Many planters obtain the machine on time. In certain cases, due to breakdown of machines, heavy workload, or adverse climatic conditions, work are delayed and performed at later stage. However, there are cases where planters are reluctant to abide to the planning and complain when they do not obtain the required services immediately after having submitted their requests. As regards Part B of the question, I've been informed by the Mauritius Cane Industry Authority that 2 contracts were awarded last year for 3 D6 type crawler tractors and 2 agricultural pneumatic tractors with accessories. 1 crawler tractor has been delivered to the MCIA last week, and the remaining equipment will be delivered in May this year after completion of all administrative procedures and commissioning.
Okay. Just one question because time is only over.
Could the minister say, have some planters already paid since January, but till now, no, not yet. Job. Some planters already paid for land preparation since January, and till now, no any work done.
But I can assure the honourable member that the matter will be looked into, addressed very forcefully, so that we can give satisfaction to one and all.
Honourable members have been advised that the following PQs has been withdrawn: B330, B333, B351, B352, B325, B324, B332, and B337. Time is over.
Motion.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Motionless.
No motion today.
Statement by ministers.
Statement by ministers. Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, Mr. Deputy Speaker. With your permission, I'm making a statement on the executive order entitled Regulating Imports with a Reciprocal Tariff to Rectify Trade Practices that Contribute to Large and Persistent Annual United States Goods Trade Deficits, signed by President Trump on the 2nd of April of this year. President Trump invoked his authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977 to address the national emergency posed by the absence of reciprocity in the U.S. trade relationships and other harmful policies like currency manipulation and unfair trade practices. The executive order imposes a baseline 10% tariff on all imported goods as from the 5th of April of this year. The United States will also impose an individualized reciprocal higher tariff proportionate to the level of its trade deficit with that country as from 9th of April 2025. The executive order further states that these tariffs will remain in effect until such time as the President determines that the threat posed by the trade deficit and underlying non-reciprocal treatment is satisfied, resolved, or mitigated. Some products that are exempted from this policy are steel and aluminum, copper, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, critical minerals, and energy products. Basically, all these goods are strategic for the United States, which explain their exclusion. It is our understanding, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that the calculation of the reciprocal tariff is based on the trade deficit incurred by the United States with Mauritius in 2024. In that year, Mauritius exported around $234.5 million of goods to the United States, while it imported only $48 million of goods. This results in a trade deficit of $186.5 million for the United States. The trade deficit as a percentage of Mauritius exports to the US is estimated at 80%. Therefore, as per the US calculation, the reciprocal tariff for Mauritius is 80%. However, this percentage was halved, and a discounted reciprocal tariff of 40% will be applied for our exports entering the United States market. The main products exported to the US include live primates, fish, sugar, textiles, and apparel. As soon as President Trump assumed office on the 20th of January 2025, he signed the America First Trade Policy Presidential Memorandum, which aims at undertaking a number of studies and proposing recommendations to address the persistent trade deficits, among others. In February 2025, the Office of the United States Trade Representative had requested public comments on unfair trade practices and non-reciprocal trade arrangements affecting the U.S. economy by the deadline of 11th of March 2025. Accordingly, Mauritius made a submission highlighting that the top 20 U.S. exports to Mauritius do not attract any tariff at all. The mutual benefits of AGUA was also underscored. On the 3rd of April 2025, the WTO Director General stated that many members had contacted the WTO regarding the potential impact of the tariffs on their economies and global trade. She expressed concern over the decline in trade and the risk of a tariff war driven by retaliatory measures. Highlighting the potential for significant trade diversion, she urged members to handle the resulting pressures responsibly to prevent escalating tensions. The executive order means, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that our exports of goods to the United States will now be subject to a tariff of 40%. This will be clearly highly detrimental to our economy. The U.S. is the fourth largest buyer of Mauritian goods. Some 41 export-oriented enterprises employing some 16,750 persons depend on the U.S. market. Being an AGUA-eligible country, Mauritius has been benefiting from duty-free market access for some 6,400 product lines on the U.S. market. Other AGUA-eligible countries like Lesotho, Botswana, and Madagascar will also face a tariff of varying between 50%, 37%, and 47%, respectively. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs had a meeting which included high-level representatives from various ministries as well as public and private sector stakeholders, namely the MCCI, the Sugar Syndicate, Business Mauritius, and MIGSA, with a view to charting the way forward and mitigating the fallouts on our economy. I have chaired 2 meetings with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, and the officers of the Ministry of Finance with the with the junior minister. The following course of action was agreed. 1, to discuss possible avenues with the United States at the bilateral and regional levels. 2, work with like-minded groups of countries, including AGWA, eligible countries as well as the African Union mission in Washington, D.C., with a view to devising a strategy to open up discussions with the United States. 3rd, to negotiate a bilateral trade agreement with the United States, which will provide the necessary predictability to our trading relations. A high-level committee has been set up by government to monitor the situation and liaise with all public, private, and foreign stakeholders, including the Corporate Council for Africa, that can work together to mitigate the fallouts from the U.S. executive order and ensure continued trade between Mauritius and the United States. Government will also engage with the U.S. as the executive order provides that reciprocal tariff can be modified if the country takes, and I quote, significant steps to remedy non-reciprocal trade arrangements and ally sufficiently with the United States on economic and national security matters, unquote. I'm also writing to President Trump with a view to discuss the concerns of Mauritius. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Agri-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries. You have a statement? Yes. So the Minister of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity. You have a statement?
Yes, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. With your permission, I wish to make a statement on the secured bond investment made by the National Pensions Fund, NPF, and the National Savings Fund, NSF, in Whole Attitude Limited, a private company registered in Mauritius. This bond investment was made for a total amount of 1.45 billion on the 1st March 2022 and was due to be paid by the 30th of September 2024. I wish to inform the House that the bond investment has now been fully repaid to the tune of 1,618,214,214 rupees, the last payment being made on the 27th March 2025. This amount comprises of the following: capital amount due, 1,450,000,000 rupees. Interest due, 142,048,357 rupees. Interest penalty of 3% over applicable interest rate, 26,165,857 rupees. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the House may wish to refer to my reply made to PQ B23 on the 10th December 2024, whereby I informed the House that the NPF-NSF Investment Committee had agreed to the extension of capital repayment of the bond issued by Whole Attitude Limited for an amount of 1,450,000,000 rupees from 30 September 2024 and 31st March 2025, but interest due was to be paid by the end of December 2024. Given that as at 31st December 2024, the interest due was not settled, the NPF-NSF Investment Committee on 28th January 2025 took the decision to trigger the event of default in accordance with Clause 9.1 of the Share Pledge Agreement and in conformity with the second schedule of the Notes Subscription Agreement, with the aim that by end of March 2025, the process of triggering the default will be completed. The NPF and NSF has embarked in this process by requesting a note holders meeting, which was held on the 6th March 2025, and thereafter, Whole Attitude Limited was requested to repay the capital, interest, and penalty on interest for a total amount of 1,618,214,214 rupees by 19th March 2025. It is to be noted that Whole Attitude Limited has pledged 40% of the shares it held in Attitude Hospitality Limited as collateral as part of the bond issue. On the 13th March 2025, a proposal was made by Société Anti-Stand, the major shareholder of Attitude Hospitality Limited, to buy 40% of Whole Attitude stake in Attitude Hospitality Limited through a share purchase agreement, and NPF and NSF would then be fully paid back by Société Anti-Stand at latest by 31st March 2025. Consequently, upon advice from the Attorney General Office on the 19th March 2025, the NPF-NSF Investment Committee agreed to the proposal made by Société Anti-Stand to buy the shares of Whole Attitude through a share purchase agreement, SPA, following which the NPF and NSF would receive all their dues, that is capital, interest plus penalty on interest due, for a total amount of 1,618,214,214 rupees by March 31st, 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, it is to be pointed out that the proposal made by Société Anti-Stand to buy these shares of Whole Attitude was in accordance with the Constitution of Attitude Hospitality Limited, which provides for the shares to be offered for sale to the existing shareholders of Attitude Hospitality Limited, and only if they would refuse, then the shares would be sold to a third party. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to reiterate the commitment of this government to ensure that it is the interest of people, first and foremost, that guides the actions of government. In this particular matter, it is the safeguard of the contribution of workers of our Republic under both the National Pension Fund and National Savings Fund that has guided the action taken by my ministry. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, my ministry has acted in a fair, transparent, and decisive manner to bring forward a rapid resolution to the recovery of funds invested by the National Pension Fund and National Savings Funds in the bond issued by Whole Attitude Limited. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir.
Public bills, first reading.
Honorable Prime Minister.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the National Agency for Drug Control Bill number 6 of 2025 be read the first time.
Seconded. Madam Speaker will take the chair for the next meeting.